right, Shalom. This is the brother Mayam coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachaha Kodash, the bonus of the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and this truth and sincerity. And just want to do a quick lesson, man, just continuing, in the spirit of prophecy, which we've been commanded to do and to be in, which is the spirit of Yahweh Shai, being in the spirit of prophecy. All right. As we continue to see the world being prepared for the return of Yahweh Shai, more and more things are being drawn out. Okay. The spirits and the intentions of men are being brought forth, to the world. And this is what we see taking place is that the Lord putting it in the spirit of these nations to prepare themselves. And what's being prepared is World War III, right? What the world calls Armageddon, all right, or in the Hebrew, Har-Magedon, which means a mountain of troops, which is out there in the Middle East, man. Okay? And this is what we see taking place. You've been seeing, Israel ramping up again with its bombings, of other nations. Now they've gone up to Hezbollah. They're shooting missiles up there. All right, shooting. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it actually started with the pagers blowing up. And then they started bombing shortly after that. But now they're starting to shoot missiles into Beirut. All right, one of the chief cities out there in Lebanon. Matter of fact, I think it's actually the capital, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Let's pull up the map. And just a quick side note, man. For those of you that in Lebanon, Beirut is the capital of Lebanon. But for those of you that aren't familiar with maps, man, I suggest you to start looking up some of these cities. Start looking at maps. Ancient maps, current maps. When you start to hear of these countries that are being drawn in, okay, to battle, man, you need to start looking up maps to see where these places are taken, because when you start to get a visualization of where these things are taking place, you start to notice a correlation with what took place in the scriptures. All right. And that's why ultimately in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, I believe, in verse 9, let me get it real quick. Yep. Ecclesiastes 1:9, the thing that has been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun, man. So basically, to sum it all up, man, history repeats itself. All right. And a good portion of world history has taken place over in that Middle East region. All right. Where all the wars, the different major kingdoms that ruled the world, going back to the beginning, was all basically taking place there in the Middle East, man. All right. And so as the Lord said, man, he declares the end from the beginning. So where it all started is where pretty much is going to end. All right. And that's the battle of Har-Magedon, or Armageddon, which is going to take place over there, man, in the Middle East. All right. This is why these, Esau, Edom is set up over there. All right. Matter of fact, there's what's that precept? Controversy of Israel, of Zion. I believe it's in Joel 3, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, Isaiah 34. Let's get that real quick. Isaiah 34. And I'll start at I'll start at verse 1. Isaiah 34 and verse 1 says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it." You see, and this is what's taking place. The world is hearing the Lord's prophecy, not only by the mouth of the Lord through his prophets, but also through the Lord putting it in the spirit of these devils and of these other nations to bring these things forth that are taking place. It says, "For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations." Now that word indignation means righteous anger. All right. So for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. And see, this is what the Lord has ultimately done. He's delivered the armies of the nations to the slaughter. Okay. Why? Because of the things that have been done unto the Lord's chosen people by the armies of these nations, man. You might not think that today, that the armies of today had anything to do with it, but you got to remember there is a such thing as reincarnation. Okay. So these men of war that are in these militaries, man, they once upon a time were armies or men, police officers or whatever, of the nations of old that had a doing and a taking over the captivity of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites according to the Bible. All right. So because of those deeds, now the Lord has gathered them. The Lord has allowed the Gentiles the nations to fulfill their lot, to fulfill their time, so that now the Lord can judge them. Matter of fact, real quick, before we continue, let's get this in Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Just came to mind. And I'll start at verse 11. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 11, it says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Right. And so all this evil work that the nations have done throughout history, primarily against the children of the Most High, the Israelites, okay, it was not executed speedily. The judgment, the other nations weren't judged quickly. All right. The Lord allowed them to do what they did primarily to the children of Israel, for that prophecy can be fulfilled here in these last days. Because as history has gone forth till we are here today, in 2024, it's all been to fulfill the scriptures, man. So these things were needful to happen. And that's why the Lord didn't judge them, because the Lord had to keep them in their position, man. But it says, therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So that's what's been in the minds of these nations and these leaders. And is that, the Lord hasn't jacked us up. So, we're going to continue to do evil because he must not see. He must not see what we're doing. I forget the precept. There's a precept that goes into that, man. I can't remember exactly how it's worded. Okay. But it goes on to say, verse 12, though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. Okay. And one thing about, us fearing the Most High is we know that the Lord put these nations above us, man. So we're not trying to usurp authority over these nations and over these rulers that have been set up, because we know it's to fulfill the will of the Heavenly Father that these people are in charge, that are over us, man. So we're not going out into the streets. We're not looking to take over anything, man. The Lord is going to take over. Okay? And so even though we know that these people's days have been prolonged with as much evil as they've done, we know it's going to be well with us if we continue to be patient and endure. The whole thing with enduring is suffering, man. Matter of fact, let's get the etymology of the word endure. All right. And again, man, for those of you that aren't familiar with what etymology is, it's a study of the origin of words. It's important to understand the meaning of words, okay, and what their original usage was. All right. So the word endure, all right, and this is on the online etymology. The endure is a verb, and it comes from the late 14th century, which means to undergo or suffer. Okay. And that's what we're commanded to do. And he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved, man. So we have to suffer the positions that we're in. We have to suffer these other nations being above us, man, and not being judged. But in the back of your mind, you need to understand that these nations will be judged. They're not just going to go, all of existence with not being judged, and they just continue to rule over us and do whatever they want with the children of the Lord. A time of retribution is going to come, and that's what we're waiting for. That's a part of our faith. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay, we haven't seen the judgment of the wicked, okay, of the other nations, but we hope and pray that the Lord is going to come and bring it soon. We know it's going to come, but we hope that it comes soon, man. Because as Matthew chapter 24, I believe around the 22nd or 21st verse, it says, unless those days be shortened, there shall be no flesh to save. So the Lord's going to speed up the times because we can't be here too much longer, man. There ain't going to be nobody to save. Okay? But continuing on in this Ecclesiastes 8, verse 13, it says, but it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Most High. And see, starting with Esau, Edom, all right, and the rest of the other nations, they haven't feared the Most High. They haven't feared being judged for the things that they've committed against the children of the Most High, man. They didn't have no fear because Esau, Edom, the deceiver, the slanderer, all right, the devil the Bible speaks of, has deceived these nations into believing that there wouldn't be no judgment. Okay, so going back now to Isaiah 34, I'll read verse 2 again. It says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out. And this is what's going to come. And their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. That's how much bloodshed is going to be spilt here in these last days, man, of these other nations primarily. And that's what we see happening, man. All these different nations being judged, bombing each other, going to war with against each other, man. And it's only going to continue to get worse. Okay. It says, verse 4, and all their host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, talking about these nuclear missiles, man. When you look at an ancient scroll, what does it do? It rolls up. The two sides roll up together. So when you open it up, what does it do? It rolls away from each other, and then when you roll it back up, like I said, it rolls into each other. And that's what happens when you see those mushrooms clouds. You got the stack in the middle, and that's that heat traveling up, and the clouds that are at the top, the mushroom cap, so to say, is being rolled into that center like a scroll. Okay? It says, and all their hosts, talking about the armies, that word host means armies, and all their host shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Okay? And this is, again, going into the army of these missiles, because there's a slew of missiles. And if you look up a falling fig leaf, okay, it falls in an arcing manner. Okay, like an arc. Okay, like a curve going, from up to down. It kind of sways back and forth, like a swing almost, falling down. And that's how these missiles are launched, man. They come up from out of the ground, or the submarine, or the tractor trailer, or whatever you want, whatever it launches from is going to get launched, is going to go up, and then eventually it's going to come back down. And that's an arcing manner. That's an arc. Okay. It says for verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. And see these missiles, the thermonuclear missiles that the Lord put in the spirit of these devils to create. The Lord has created them for his use. That's his weapon. His weapons of his indignation. Because a sword is what? A killing instrument. And a thermonuclear missile is the greatest killing instrument on the earth right now. Okay, it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, because that's where it goes up. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. And Idumea, okay, is the Greek way of saying Edom. And Esau is Edom. Okay, and Esau is the wicked. Okay. So it says, verse 6, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. And you gotta understand that fat, different organs, all right, the Lord would use those would be used for sacrifices to be burned on the fire for the Lord. Okay, it says, for the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and Bozrah was one of the chief cities of Edom in the ancient days, man. And so what's the chief city of Edom today? Starting with America, man. And the Lord has a great sacrifice, man. Okay, so what? Just like that blood and the different organs is named specifically the kidneys, just like they get thrown into a fire for it to be burnt, so that smell can go up to the Lord. Well, there's going to be a great sacrifice here in the chief city of Edom today. Okay, and it says, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. See, a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And all the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. Verse 8, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. You see? For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. This is the time that we're getting ready to come into, man. The year of recompense. Matter of fact, let's get that in 2 Thessalonians verse 1, or 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And who have troubled the Israelites, man? First and foremost, those of you that believe, man. Who's troubled you the most? What is troubling you today? What's causing trouble in your life? It's the way that this society is structured, right? Well, who set it up? The devil himself, man. These other nations conspired against you Israelites, man, to make your lives difficult, to make it hard to get by. You have to jump through hula hoops and sell yourself just to try to even make it, man. And even then, the Esau can pull, or these other nations can pull the rug out from underneath you, man. And then you're left out on your ass, man. Completely through, man. And we see that over and over with these celebrities, man. They done sold their soul. And that's why the scripture says, what shall a man gain if he shall sell his soul, man? You're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your life, man. Okay, so it's going to be a righteous thing with the Lord to trouble these nations, man. And that's what we see taking place, man. That's why ultimately the Lord is gathering these nations up over there in the Middle East. Okay, let's go to Joel chapter 3 and we'll close out on this. Keep this short and simple. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And this is why it is an important time to not be wanting to join the military, man. Because the Lord is gathering up these militaries of these nations, man. He's preparing them for war. To what? For what? For that they can be destroyed, man. So do you want to be a part of that? Is that what you looking to do, man? Because you want them to the army to pay for your schooling that ain't gonna be worth a damn? Is that what you looking for? Is that the only reason why you're doing that? Or are you counting the cost of what could potentially happen if you join? And not potentially, but is going to happen, whether you see it or not. These things are going to take place. They've been written, man. Okay? It says verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And the weak nations of the earth have now become a nuclear capable. Okay? They have missiles. They have rockets. They have tanks. They have submarines. They have warplanes. All these weak nations now have the same weapons that the strong nations have. Okay? And they've made allies with strong nations. Okay? It says verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Lord's judgment. Yahweh is the name of the Lord, Yahweh, and Shaphat is judge or judgment in the Hebrew. To the valley of Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full. The fat overflows, for the wickedness is great. You see, and that sacrifice is made ready, man. The Lord has prepared the Middle East region for all these nations to be drawn in. And the least of the flock being the so-called Israelis. They bringing in America, man. Everybody's being brought into this war. Okay? And that's why there's always so much tension out there in the Middle East, man. Because the Lord is preparing that place for it to be a great meat grinder, man. Okay. Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, man. And that's where that's going to take place out there in the Middle East, man. Great judgment. These militaries are going to be sent over there to only be destroyed, man. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. That's what we see taking place. So we know we're at the end. Because things are ramping up, man. Every day things are only getting worse. Okay? So I just want to keep it simple, man. I want to go ahead and say, Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations unto the Akim around the four corners of the earth, who are diligently pushing out this truth and this truth and sincerity. With that, I say Shalom.